Do not stay at another hotel or Airbnb without first watching this. This video may ruin hotel and Airbnb stays for you forever. Just kidding, it's not that serious, but it might make you look at things a little bit differently. We are breaking down a list of things to avoid in hotels and Airbnbs, but I'd say this list more pertains to hotels. And listen, this is not one size fits all. It's obviously dependent on where you stay. It's a case-by-case situation, and it's gonna come down to your level of ick factor. But these are just things that either I've had a bad experience with, or friends of mine have, or that I've been told by people who clean these areas to avoid. Let's check them out. This first one stems from a bad personal experience, and that is glassware. Now listen, I so appreciate that hotels do actual real glasses and not plastic cups, but one time I filled a glass with water and I sat it on the bedside table and I was watching TV and just casually picking it up and drinking it every now and then. About halfway through, I looked and saw all these white particles floating in it. I have no idea what it was, but it scarred me for life. And so now I just can't use them. I try to bring my own water bottle instead. Plus, I've heard, or you've seen in like those undercover shows where somebody might be cleaning, maybe they're pressed for time, I don't know, but they're like wiping down the surfaces, then they take that same rag and wipe out the glass and then put it back. So for me, I just can't do it. So I avoid glassware at all costs, or I rewash it myself before using. Number 2 is a bit controversial, and I'll admit I cave on this one a lot, and that is the in-room coffee maker. They say they just never get cleaned, and I mean, who can blame them? Who has time to be cleaning that many coffee machines? I can barely clean mine in my own kitchen, so understandable. And then other times people will say, well, you just never know, but somebody was pouring in the water reservoir. But listen, desperate times call for desperate measures. Sometimes I need my caffeine, so I will do it and just hope for the best. Number 3 is one I'd not ever thought of until I saw a special on TV, and that is the ice bucket. The reason for this is because you just never know what that thing was used for. Did somebody get sick? Did somebody go to the bathroom in it? I don't know. Now, the caveat to this is if there is a liner, then I say it's fair game because obviously the liners are replaced, but otherwise you just never know what was in it, how well was it clean. And I'll be honest, if I was cleaning that room and I walked in and it looked clean, I would assume there was just ice in there and I wouldn't clean it out, you know? So I say to avoid them unless they have a liner. Number 4 are the reusable shampoo, conditioner, body wash bottles inside of the shower. Now listen, I think it's genius that hotels do these. Obviously it cuts down on the single-use plastic at the sink, the little bottles, but unless they're locked in a way that only housekeeping can access them and add to them, it just makes me nervous. You never know what a previous guest might have added to it. I mean, listen, people get wild depending on where you're staying in hotels. So you just never know. I mean, again, the odds are probably low, but if given the option, I avoid them. Number 5 tends to be the one people agree with the most, and that is decorative pillows, blankets, comforters, just those soft surfaces that are probably not getting clean because I cannot imagine that they have time to deep clean those. As you'll see here in this one video, I am staying at a hotel. It looked clean enough, but when I flipped the pillow over, there was like what I'm gonna assume is a chocolate stain on it. Clearly not clean. It had been missed. And so this stuff just sort of gives me the ick. So the first thing I do when I walk in a room is remove those things off the bed, and then I feel a lot more comfortable. Number 6 is a pretty common one, and that is the remote control and the telephone. Now, I don't avoid these, but I know these tend to give some people the ick. So luckily, this is an easy one to solve on our own because you could easily carry wipes with you and just wipe them down if you want for good measure. Number 7 is one that I had a bad experience with, and that is a jacuzzi tub, or really any tub in a hotel. But listen, I have so many friends who love a good hotel bathtub. But for me, one time I took a bath in a jacuzzi tub, filled it up, got in there, turned on the jets, and gunk and dried old rose petals came out, and I was like, oh gosh, this is disgusting, never again. So again, it's gonna come down to the hotel, and obviously a regular tub wouldn't have that problem, but for me, I avoid. Number 8 isn't something I avoid, but something I do, and that is wear slippers on the carpet. I always travel with a pair of travel slippers, and that way they don't take up a ton of room in your suitcase. I'll link my favorites in the description below. But you know, when you think about it, the carpet, you know, it gets vacuumed, sure, they definitely clean it, but I don't know how often it gets a good old shampooing or a deep clean, and there's probably a lot of bare feet and who knows what else that has seen those carpets. So I just like to wear slippers. You'll have to let me know if you are the same way. And lastly, number 9, and this is probably the most debated one, and that is a hotel robe. My husband loves himself a hotel robe. I just get in my own head and think, do they really wash them or do they just pick them back up and hang them up? I also had a friend one time say that she put one on, and when she put her hand in the pocket, there was a dirty tissue. You guys, I can't. Now listen, I'm sure plenty of hotels do actually wash them, but I get into my own head and I'm like, you know what? I will just travel with my own sweatshirt and sleepwear and nah, I don't need the cozy robe. All right, and that does it. Please let me know in the description below, which of these do you do, which do you not do? Maybe what do you agree with, what do you don't? Or do you have any to add to the list? Please tell us so that we can know. And again, not to ruin stays for us, stays away. Vacation is meant to be fun. We're meant to relax. But for me, there's just some things that you just, once you know, you can't unknow them. So I don't know, just things to be aware of. Hit the thumbs up button if this was helpful, and don't forget to subscribe for even more helpful tips.